Kentucky's win over Bellarmine might have been sloppy, sure, but the way Kam Williams shot the ball proved to us that the Cats need to change their rotation and fast.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky, we are going to be recapping Kentucky basketball's victory over Bellarmine. It was a little sloppy, sure, but the Wildcats were able to get it done, and the way that Kam Williams finally shot the ball proves to us yes, he can actually shoot, and the Wildcats rotation moving forward should be changing, and I think it needs to happen very quickly. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. Want to remind everyone out there that we are free and available on all platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the show, and if you were listening on podcast, I would also appreciate it if you subscribed there as well. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. You can download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. If you would subscribe, would really appreciate it. As we wade into the new year, we don't have a game to talk about between now and the Alabama game to open up SEC play in 2026. But for now, we'll talk about this Kentucky versus Bellarmine contest on Christmas Eve. 99-85 is the final score. Wildcats get it done in Rupp Arena. And again, it wasn't necessarily the prettiest win. Obviously, giving up 85 to any quad 4 opponent is not good. But we'll talk a little bit about the effort here later on in the show, because it's not the most concerning thing to me in the world, given the context surrounding the situation. If you actually watch the game, I think you can kind of understand where I probably am going to go here in a few minutes. But to start, I want to talk about this shooting performance for the Wildcats, because I have said for the past couple weeks over and over and over and over, and Mario Maitland, who joined the show yesterday, said the exact same thing. This is not a good three-point shooting team. There are going to be games, however, where Kentucky shoots the cover off the ball, inexplicably so, and we just have to live with that. If they shoot the ball well, great. If they don't, you have to find other ways to win. You have to style this team in a different way other than jacking up 33s a night. And darn if they didn't shoot the ball off here. Cover off the ball here. 16 of 30 from beyond the arc were the Wildcats. Cats went 9 of 14 in the second half, largely due in part thanks to Kam Williams. This was a very good shooting performance, I think, from the Cats all around, but it mostly came from two players, most notably, again, Kam, who was shooting less than 24% from three coming into this game. He decided to go 8 for 10 from three. Yes, you heard me correctly, 8 of 10 from beyond the arc, and now he is up to 35.4% from beyond the arc. He did it from a lot of different spots, deep on both wings, from each corner. He was getting the ball in the hole from a variety of areas, and it was so clear that the kids got confidence. He, after hitting a couple of threes against St. John's, has found his confidence in his shooting stroke, and that's all you need. It's so clear that the 40% from a season ago at Tulane was not a fluke. This kid can actually shoot the ball. It was just a matter of time before water kind of started to find its level with the way that Kam can shoot the basketball. Breakout performance, incredible stuff from Williams. I'm really excited to see how he plays moving forward now that he has found his shooting stroke. It adds a dynamic to this offense that has not been there through the first third of the season. So excited for him, so excited for Kentucky. This really does help their offense out. Let's have a serious conversation about Kam Williams. I said this on Twitter, and I've got it in my notes here. It's time to have a very serious discussion about Kam Williams and what Kentucky does at small forward moving forward. If he's going to be a 40% plus guy from three, if he's going to be a 35, 36, 37% type of guy from three, night in and night out, he's got to play an absurd amount of minutes. I think Kam Williams has to dominate what Kentucky is trying to do at small forward in terms of minutes and in terms of volume shot taking. Yes, I understand Williams has had some struggles defensively. Yes, I understand his defensive rating is average relative to the rest of the roster that the Wildcats have. I get that. By the way, just random side note, in terms of defensive rating, the Cats technically only have one bad defender on the roster, and that's Jasper Johnson, and even he is not that bad, especially compared to some of the numbers on Kentucky's roster a season ago. Really impressed with the way that the Wildcats have stepped up overall, not today, but overall on that side of the ball. Yes, Kam Williams has some struggles defensively. Yes, he did struggle to stay in front of some Bellarmine players in this game. I think it's got to be him at the 3. I think it's got to be Diabate at the 4. You've got to be able to mix Owe in at the 3, yes, but I think I would rather have Owe at the 2 and let that be the lineup because I trust Ortega maybe splitting time with Aberdeen there, scoring the ball in the ways that they do. Aberdeen more spot-up shooting, Owe more of a slasher type. I think both those guys can play well at shooting guard with Kam primarily at small forward at 6'8" to provide you that gravity from 3 and then maybe open some things up for both of those guys to get into the paint because both of them, I think, do a pretty good job of that. We got to see it both in this game and we've gotten to see it this entire season. Both those guys can get in and score in the lane and at the rim. Kam is better than Collin Chandler if he can shoot as well as he did today from 3, no duh. He's better than basically every player in America if he can go 8 of 10 from 3 every night. But if he is a 35, 36, 37 plus type guy, he is going to have to be who Kentucky runs at the 3 for the rest of the season, primarily. And this is compounded by the fact that Chandler has not been playing that well. He started the season off hot shooting the ball, and now he's down under 40%, and he's not been shooting well these past several games. If you want to go look, 1 of 4 from 3 against Bellarmine, missed his only shot against St. John's, 0 of 2 against Indiana, 1 of 4 against NC Central, 2 of 7 against Gonzaga, 0 of 2 against North Carolina, 2 of 6 against Tennessee Tech. He started the season off so hot, and now we've hit a very consistent cold stretch. With Kam's size, with Kam's ability to rebound, with Kam's ability to just naturally be more physical than Collin Chandler, I think you have to be able to give him the lion's share of the minutes at the 3. And I understand that Chandler's assist rate is a little higher than it was a season ago. I understand that he has been able to still nab some really nice passes here and there, making plays. He is the better ball handler between the two. But Chandler does not provide, I think, the consistency that Kam could on both ends of the floor, because you also have to remember that Kam does not miss inside the arc. He's shooting 76.5%. Once he gets to the rim, he's scoring. He is, if he can sustain this, he is a more efficient option, and I think just a better overall fit at the 3 for Kentucky. And if they want to play this bruiser style of basketball, a 6'8" wing compared to a 6'5" one who is not shooting the ball well, I think it fits the style of play that Kentucky wants to have a little bit more. This is how I would play the rotation. I'm not the coach, but I'm guessing this is honestly kind of how Kentucky's going to do it moving forward, if everybody's healthy. Jaland Lowe at point guard, Jasper Johnson backing him up. A combination between Ortega Owe and Denzel Aberdeen at the 2 with Collin Chandler backing them up. Kam Williams at the 3 with Noah backing them up. Slide Owe down. Rotate Chandler in at the 3 if you want to. But primarily Kam. Diabate at the 4 with Garrison backing him up. You can also slide Kam down to the 4 in smaller lineups. And then Jaden Quaintance and Malachi Marino splitting time at the 5 with Brandon Garrison backing them up. But mostly Lowe, Ortega, Aberdeen, Kam, Diabate, Quaintance, Marino. That's what the rotation is basically going to be. If Trent and Chandler aren't hitting, and they can't put the ball on the floor and finish at the rim, I would rather play Kam Williams. And I understand that he's not going to go 8 of 10 from 3. Maybe this is just a one-off. Maybe he goes back to shooting insanely cold. We don't know. But based on the sample size we have from Tulane, and after getting to see him so confident today, 35+% from 3 is good enough for me at 6'8". That's how I would run the rotation. He played well today. Shooting performance was incredible. We'll dive more into how this game unfolded. Kentucky scores 99 but gives up 85. Is the effort, the energy a big concern here? I'm going to say no. And again, I think it's context dependent in this one. And also, Bellarmine played extremely hard. We'll get to all of that here in just a second. Before we do it, though, tell you guys about our friends over at GameTime. There's nothing like college basketball season. You guys know this. Obviously, now that we're getting closer to SEC play, should be pretty fun. Tailgates, packed arenas, being right there in the middle of it all, the energy, the momentum, everybody screaming their heads off in the stands, the moments you'll remember forever. But actually getting tickets inside Rupp Arena, no less, that part can be extremely frustrating with long queues, logins, prices jumping at checkout. And that's why I use GameTime, why you should use GameTime, because they give advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. I can open up the GameTime app and upcoming college basketball and honestly college football games you want to go to the playoff or you want to go to a bowl game. You can realize just how surprising and just how easy it is to find really good seats. The app is incredibly easy to use. You can go from browsing to buying in just minutes. I've loved being able to use the view my seat function before buying, so I know exactly what I'm getting. I went to an NBA game recently, actually in Charlotte. I went to go see the Hornets play the Bulls, and I used zone deals, which was where you can pick the section, GameTime picks the seats, and you save even more. It was incredible. The seats were so incredible for the price, and the view was incredible. The game was amazing. You can go and use GameTime right now. Take the guesswork out of buying your college football, college basketball, MLB, NBA, any type of sporting event tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. All right, continuing along here on today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel or the podcast feed, I would love it if you did so. Thank you so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen and making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every single day. Now you can take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Kentucky with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonkentucky.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. 99-85 is the final score. Wildcats get the dub over Bellarmine, improved to 9-4 on the season. Cats only drop one spot on KenPom. We'll see if that holds until January 3rd. I'm not quite sure if it will, but their offense jumps to 26th nationally, and their defense drops 10 spots to 25th nationally. So they're 26th and 25th on offense and defense in terms of adjusted efficiency, which is quite funny that after all of this, after all of the ups and downs of non-con play, the Cats are extremely balanced, according to the analytics, on both ends of the floor. Now, obviously, they're better against some competition than others, and they've played really well as of late against St. John's, Indiana, shut down those teams, despite them playing two very different styles of ball. And then they turn around, and they give up 85 points. 85 points to Bellarmine? Of all teams, super weird game. Super weird game from the Knights. And you may be saying, well, this is the first, really eye-opening bad defensive performance of the season against a bad opponent. What is going on here? Why did Kentucky struggle so much? Why did Bellarmine shoot over 50% from the floor, almost 37% from three? Why did they get to the line 30 times? What exactly happened? Is there effort issues? Are we back to lethargic, slow basketball? I don't think that it's that big of a concern because this team's fluctuated up and down. You've got a lot of time to rest here and get your team healthy and get them re-energized for your SEC opener on the road against Alabama. If you're going to have a bad performance, honestly, a game like this would be it. And you still won. You didn't cover. You didn't even come close. But we need to take some things into context. First and foremost, I think some people would use this as a cop-out answer, and a lot of you are probably not going to like the fact that I'm about to say what I'm about to say, because none of you seem to understand that sometimes it's an excuse and sometimes it's just reality. I'm using it as an excuse here. The officiating was really bad. I think it was bad on both ends. I think it was extremely inconsistent, as it usually is when it's poor. But oh my goodness, the amount of touch fouls in this game were insane. It was insane. It was crap we have not seen all season, where Bellarmine would be cutting or driving, beep, put him on the line. It was insane how ready they were to blow the whistle at a moment's notice. So while Bellarmine, I think, earned a lot of their trips to the line, there were moments where they got put on the charity stripe, especially late, where I was scratching my head saying, why are you making that call? Especially, why are you making that call so late? That's the thing that frustrates me about officials, is they will make the call 2 or 3 seconds after they've shot the ball to see if they make the shot, and if they don't make the shot, they blow the whistle. I hate that type of officiating. Bailing a player, either call the foul or don't. When it happens, don't wait to see what the result of the play is to see if you should give them some charity. That's not how officiating works. You call it when it happens or you don't. The leading scorer for Bellarmine, Jack Krasinski, who is built like a cardboard box, I want to note. Brother was built like a box that you would get for a television that you're going to put in your living room. I mean, that kid was, he was built like a Minecraft character. Only at 6'7", 215, by the way. I mean, he wasn't wide, but like in a negative sense, he was just wide. At least he looked like it on the broadcast. He was getting to the line a lot in this game. He went 9 of 10. I mean, this Bellarmine team doesn't miss. They went 26 of 30 overall. And again, I think that they didn't deserve like a third of what was going on from the charity stripe. It was just a lot of BS, I felt like. They also hit at least 3 different threes as the shot clock expired from basically the same spot deep on the left wing. Just a prayer of a shot that was contested each time, and they all went in. So there's 9 points for you. Let's say that Bellarmine, let's say that they didn't deserve 3 of the 3 trips to the free throw line. So 6 free throws. 15 points off of their 85. They're scoring 70. Let's say they score 72, 73 points in this game, 99 to 73. I don't think anybody's that worried. They're also giving Bellarmine credit where credit is due. This is actually still a pretty good offense. They're just so bad on defense, which is why Kentucky was so hyper efficient in this one. So the officiating was bad. They hit shots that they had no business hitting that most teams won't. And if you take it all out, Bellarmine scores in the low 70s. You also have to take into account that this is the day before Christmas Eve. You have just played your guts out in 2 games you really needed to win, and you are without your starting point guard. Jaland Lowe did not play in this game. Bellarmine, the Knights played really, really, really hard. Really hard. Like they were going to die if they did not win this game. They would not go away. They would get the game really, really close. Then Kentucky would try and pull away, get up by like double digits-ish, and then they cut it right back down to 13. Over and over and over, they cut it right back down to 13, 12, 11, and Kentucky could never pull away despite an incredible shooting performance. It was just a very hard-fought effort from the Knights, who, again, I think got some things to go their way that normally wouldn't. And the broadcast said it at some point. It was like, this is about as good as Bellarmine is going to play this year. They are playing as well as they can possibly play as a team right now. And it still amounted to a double-digit loss, but still credit to them where credit is due. The effort and the energy, I don't think, is a big concern. If you're going to have a bad performance, this is it. Bad officiating, shots falling that normally don't, the team wanting this win really, really bad, apparently, with the way that they were cutting and the constant motion on offense. My goodness, I bet those kids are worn out. And yet Kentucky drops 99 on their head because Kam Williams decided that he wanted to have one of the greatest shooting performances over the last couple of seasons, at the very least. Just really, really good stuff from him. Really, really good stuff from Jasper as well. Diabate had a calm 20 in this game because Bellarmine just simply didn't match up well physically with Kentucky, which was kind of obvious coming into the game. Aberdeen finished with 14 points, 4 assists, just 1 turnover. He was 4 of 7 from deep. A couple of them really nice rhythm threes. A couple of them spot up. I like it. Dawe only finished with 10 points, 2 of 7 shooting, but he got really close to a triple-double. He had 10 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. He had 4 turnovers, 3 of which were on, just obscenely bad entry passes to Marino, where he just missed the mark horribly each time. Not really quite sure what's going on there with Ortega, just wanting to force the issue a little bit. But the man finished with 10 assists, so it was clear he came into this game knowing he was going to have to pass the rock around a little bit, and darn if he didn't. I'll take the 10 assists with the 4 turnovers any day of the week. I'm content, especially from one of your leaders. I'm content. Let's see, any other major? Well, Quainton's got to play 8 minutes, but you didn't really see a lot from him. A couple of bad turnovers, a couple of really good defensive possessions, but he didn't really play that much. Honestly, if I were Kentucky, kind of leave it that way. To be honest with you, it's interesting how they kind of split up minutes in this game with the 5, because Garrison only played 8, Quainton's only played 8, Marino only played 17, Yelovich played 7. So they were going pretty small for a large chunk of this one. Which I just think is really interesting. They were able to, and they knocked down 3s. Bellarmine dared them to, and they knocked down 16 of them. Kam with 8, Jasper with 3, Aberdeen with 4, Chandler with 1, and Kentucky gets the 99-85 win. I want to wrap up the show by talking about 3 things that I would like for Christmas from the Kentucky Wildcats. Things that I want to see them do for the rest of the season, and obviously as we get into SEC play. Let's talk about those 3 things here in just a little bit. Before we do it, though, I'll tell you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. NFL Sundays can move really fast. One big play, suddenly everything can feel different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver can get hot, a defense can tighten up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. They've got live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly, player props that update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, or maybe you're not going to maybe drop something on some NFL action, maybe you want to look at some college basketball lines, maybe you want to predict who's going to win the SEC, you could obviously do that for the Cats, or if you are just down and out in the Cats like some of our listeners are, you could maybe lay something down against them. If you want to do anything with sports betting, you can visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets or college basketball bets, college football bets. Who do you think is going to win the playoff? You can do that all season long with FanDuel. The game moves fast, and so can you. All right, wrapping up tonight's episode of the show. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Normally, I would do this live, but no live stream today. 99-85 win over the Bellarmine Knights. Cats get it done, 9-4. Heading into SEC play, bit of a mid start to the season because of injuries, poor roster construction, etc. But the Cats seem to be finding themselves a little bit here as they get into SEC play. Got a really tough one on January 3rd against Alabama, a team that at this point, I just don't think Kentucky matches up well with stylistically. It seems like Oates has got Pope's number. Maybe being a more physical team this time around can help Kentucky, but Alabama is just an insane machine. Don't expect Kentucky to win that game right now. Would love to see them win it. Just to get off the mat and get a really good quality win on the road. Let's talk about 3 things that I'd like for Christmas from the Cats. And let's start with a win over Alabama to begin SEC play. I want to see the Wildcats on January 3rd come out against Alabama and just find a way to win. Blow them out, awesome. I love that. Win by 8 or 9, cool. Win this game by 1. Win this game at the buzzer. I don't care. Find a way to win. Because if you are able to beat Alabama a game that you only have a 34% chance to do or to win right now, according to KenPom. If you're able to do that, you can really start to turn this thing around in terms of momentum and in terms of positive vibes and energy as you get into this SEC slate. Because while, yes, Missouri, Mississippi State, LSU, those are all really good teams that you could lose to. Those are teams that you can absolutely beat. And if you are coming into them with the right mentality, the right energy, I mean, you can make it really, really hard on your opponent to even have a chance to score consistently in those games because of how inconsistent those three teams can be on offense, especially against quality opponents. The one team that LSU has played worth a rip this season, they scored 58 points against Texas Tech. The three teams that Missouri has played against this season that are worth a rip, they've scored 71, 60, and 48 against. That's Notre Dame, Kansas, and Illinois. Mississippi State so far this season, against the 5 teams that they have played worth a rip, they have scored 62, 81, 78, 77, and 80. Just one of those teams was a quad 1 win, and they are 99th right now in adjusted offensive efficiency nationally. This is not a good offensive team. So if you beat Bama, which is an incredibly tall task, I want to acknowledge that. You are 10-4. You beat Missouri 11-4. Mississippi State 12-4. LSU 13-4. And then you're carrying all of that momentum into a huge matchup in Knoxville against Tennessee. You can ride into the middle of this SEC slate on fire, having already picked up 6 or 7 wins if you are able to start this thing off right. And obviously, if you're able to stay healthy, which is the second thing I want to see in my stocking for Christmas, is confirmation, not even confirmation, just for it to be reality, that Jaland Lowe is healthy for the rest of the season. I want to see a healthy Jaland Lowe play for this team for the rest of the season. That's the second thing I would like in my stocking. I'm so tired of watching this team struggle to keep their point guards healthy. It's been the entire time that I've been doing the show, season 5 now, entire time, we have not been able to keep point guards healthy consistently. All the way back to the Severe Wheeler days, right? All the way back to 2022. With Severe Wheeler not being able to stay consistently healthy. I remember he got hurt at the beginning of SEC play against LSU. And that was an incredibly tough loss that I thought was poorly officiated, but the Wildcats also did miss 10 free throws in that game. Just a really pathetic game where your point guard gets hurt, and it's just maddening. And then he just wasn't consistently 100% for the rest of the year, which honestly, are you ever? But I dating all the way back to even that season, Kentucky's not been able to keep their point guards healthy. Would love to see Jaland even be 80% for every game moving forward. I say that, and that seems to me more unrealistic than beating Alabama is to keep Lowe healthy, even semi-healthy, which is crazy to say, but I would love to have it for Christmas. And then the final thing that I would want is Kentucky to find a way to shoot the ball at least an average level consistently. Now they're shooting an average of 33.7% right now, which is 172nd in the country. Sure, okay, fine. But I would like to see them, in terms of SEC play, shoot an average level consistently for the rest of the year. It's not going to happen, I don't think, but I would like to see it happen. No duh. If they can keep their point guard healthy, shoot 35%, around 35% or higher for the rest of the year, and if they could beat Alabama to start SEC play, to really get the ball going, to really get some momentum going here after a bad start to the year, I would love all 3 of those things. I would take just 2 of those things, honestly. I would take Lowe in Bama and leave the shooting. I would take Lowe and the shooting and leave Bama and see what happens for the rest of the SEC slate. I would take Bama and shooting well for the rest of the year, because while your point guard play might not be there, hey, at least you're scoring now consistently because you're finding a way to put the ball in the hole. That's what I would like. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Locked On Kentucky. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Kentucky so you get all the latest episodes. Really appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a happy holidays. A Merry Christmas to all of you. Season 5 now wading into SEC play here on the show. If you need a last-minute holiday gift, basically last second at this point, or someone keeps asking you what you want, you can make it really easy. Ask for the Everydayer Club or just get it yourself, honestly. Ad-free episodes of the show, exclusive Discord access, and more. Subscriptions can be gifted or just bought individually by yourself through lockedonkentucky.supercast.com. You can also just check the description and you can find it there. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure to make your second listen Locked On College Basketball with Andy Patton and Isaac Shade. I'm Lance Dawe here at Locked On Kentucky. You can follow me on Twitter at LanceDawe_. Follow the show over on Instagram at Kentucky Podcast, and follow the show over on Twitter, where I am most active, at Locked On UK. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. And of course, God bless. Honestly, I would not be mad at like a Croatian point guard underneath my Christmas tree as well. I'd take that as well.